In today's video, we're going to be discussing the top 5 players who did not get traded at the deadline that are most likely to be traded this offseason. Plus, we have some channel updates and some subscriber shoutouts, and that's coming up next. And welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Alright, so before we jump into today's normal content, I want to do a little bit of a channel update here. So first of all, I want to jump right in with the fact that we hit an important milestone here in the last few days. On the weekend, we hit over 500 subscribers. So I just want to take a minute just to say thank you very much for your support. I know we have a fair bit now of loyal, regular viewers, subscribers, and I just want to let you all know that I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Our next big goal to hit is 1,000 coming up soon. Obviously, some of you may know with YouTube made a bunch of changes lately to their partner program and how you can monetize your videos. And so now you need to have 1,000 subscribers in order to have ads on your videos so you can make any revenue back for your hard work. So we're gunning for that so we can get that back. We did have monetization on our channel for a little while. Some of you may notice, but with their new higher level of metrics, we have to re-earn that again, which is fine. So we're onwards and upwards towards 1,000. Anything you can do to help us get there is greatly appreciated. In the interim, if you do want to support Top Shelf Hockey, we do have a Patreon account. If you're not familiar with Patreon, there's a link down below in the description. Patreon basically allows you to support the channel through a monetary monthly fee. In return for that monthly fee, which and the fee can be whatever you want it to be. There's lots of different options. You get different perks in return, and you get access to special content that that doesn't go up here on a normal channel. So certainly check that out if you feel like supporting us in any extra ways. I'd certainly appreciate it. It goes a long way to helping us grow the channel and improving our equipment and whatnot to help improving the quality and taking things to a new level. A couple of subscribers that I wanted to give a quick shout out to, newer subscribers I guess, that have kind of started their own channel and have come to me for a little bit of advice and have asked me to shout them out here just to kind of see if anybody here would be interested in checking out their channel. One of them, his name is Joseph Nitschke. From what I can see, it looks like he's a Red Wings fan and does a few videos on the Red Wings. So there'll be a link down below in the description to his channel. It's a newer channel. The subscriber base is low right now, but he's trying to build it up and is looking for some help. So if you wouldn't mind checking that out, please do so. As another viewer goes by NHL Talks, kind of in the same boat. Brand new channel, trying to get it off the ground. Trying to learn and go, and has asked me for a little bit of advice, and I told him I would mention here on the channel just to give him a little shout out for anybody here who might be interested in checking that channel out. I've only had a chance to quickly look at a couple of quick videos that they've put up, so I've been promising those guys I'd do that for a little while, so I wanted to make sure I didn't forget this time. Also, a quick part of our channel update, I just want to remind everybody as well that I am more than open to receiving ideas from you for video ideas. Feel free to submit those. You can go through the actual channel on the about screen, and our email is there if you want to send me an email with any ideas, or you can leave it in the comments as well. Either way is fine. If there's any content that you'd like to see that's not already being produced, certainly by all means leave some comments. We've done a couple of videos already that were viewer recommendations, and I love that kind of stuff because obviously I want to give content that you guys want. And if you have any suggestions or ideas, I'm all ears, so certainly make the suggestion, go from there. And if anybody out there watching this, if you guys have channels of your own and you're interested in collaborating together, I'm certainly all ears and open to those ideas as well, so certainly keep them coming. So thanks again everybody for your support. Now we're going to jump into today's regular content. Alright, so let's jump into today's content. As I mentioned, we're going to discuss the top 5 players that did not get traded at the deadline, but are very likely to get traded this offseason. So I've created a list. We're going to start at number 5 and work our way up to number 1, and we'll discuss down in the comments what you guys think of each of these potential deals. So number 5, I've got Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think Boone Jenner is a highly likely trade candidate. I'm not surprised that they didn't trade him at the deadline. Obviously, they're in a push for a playoff spot. He's still fairly young. He's going to be a pending RFA this summer. He's only 24 years old. He can play center and a wing. Like, he is a valuable piece. And obviously, the Blue Jackets did go out and make a few minor moves. They added, we're looking at Ian Cole, Mark Letestu, Thomas Vanek. So obviously, I'm not shocked that they didn't make a move there. But going into next season, I can fully suspect them kind of not doing a rebuild or a retool, but kind of a minor retool, because I think that there's some teams in that Metro. It's a tough division. Are getting ahead of them. Obviously, Pittsburgh's been up there for a while, but even looking at like Philly and New Jersey, especially, you know, a lot of people coming into this year fully suspected, you know, Pittsburgh, Washington, Columbus kind of be the top three. That's kind of what I had. Regardless of what order you had them in, I think it was fair to say that the Jackets were going to be right up there, and now they're struggling. And a large part of that is the improvement of the other teams that they're fighting against for the playoffs. So I can see them making some moves in the offseason, and I can see Jenner being a part of that move. Now, I think they're pretty solid in goal. They got some pretty good defense. I mean, they got Seth Jones, Zach Werenski, David Savard. You know, they got Ian Cole now. They've got a pretty solid defense core. I don't think that there could be some minor tinkering there, but for the most part, it's the forward group that I think they need to maybe shake things up a little bit, and I can see there being a swap with Jenner. I think his value is still going to be pretty decent. I mean, you got to consider the fact that he can play center and wing. He's only 24 years old. He's a pending RFA, so you're not going to have to pay through the nose for him. Obviously, he's going to be coming off a very underperforming season. He's only 2 years removed from scoring 30 goals. I believe he had 18 last year, but he only has 6 this year. So obviously, you know, maybe he can turn things around for the remainder of the year and kind of boost his value a little bit. But at the same time, I can see the Blue Jackets desperately trying to shake up their forward group next year in order to kind of get back into the mix of things in the Metro, and I think he could be a trade candidate. So certainly leave some comments down below. Do you think Boone Jenner is a highly likely candidate to be traded this summer, and can you see the Blue Jackets making some shaking things up with their forward group? Number 4, we've got Jeff Skinner from the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't think it made any sense for them to trade him now. I really thought the Carolina Hurricanes might do a little bit more to add at the deadline to kind of push themselves into the playoffs. Obviously, they've got new ownership. I think he's eager to put some money into that team to kind of prove to the fan base that they're committed to putting a winning product on the ice. And I can see them doing something bigger in the offseason. General Manager Ron Francis, if you look at his history, he really hasn't done that much to really improve that team, I don't think. But I think he's going to be under pressure now from ownership in order to make some moves. And I think Jeff Skinner is unfortunately kind of shouldered the burden of a lot of their lack of success. He's by far their best player, I think. But at the same time, he's not that high-profile guy to take him to the next level. I think if he's a good secondary piece in another team, he'd have a lot more success. I mean, if you take a look at his past, he's only 25 years old. It seems like he's played in the league for years because he started so young. He came right out of the draft into the NHL, had fantastic success. I mean, he's got a year left on his contract of $5.7 million. Extension talks could start with Jeff Skinner as early as July 1st, so we could see a situation, for example, like we saw with Kyle Turris earlier this year where he was traded and immediately signed an extension. Something like that could go down. But I can see Carolina trying to do something big. I think they have an owner that sees the bigger picture here. The best thing that's happened to that franchise in a long time. And I think Ron Francis is going to be under the gun to do something big and try to bring in a higher profile player. And I don't think they can really do that without moving Skinner. I mean, he's 25 years old. He has 3 30-goal seasons to his name, plus another year where he hit 28. So really, you could say he's got 4 30-goal seasons. He's on pace for probably around 25. He could hit 30 this year, but more than likely going to be around 25, 26, 27, something like that. So, I mean, he's 25 to 30 goals, you know, 5 out of 7 years in the league. Really, this guy is a fantastic player. He's really fast. He's creative. He's good with the puck. I think I can see a big move coming again out of Carolina this year in the offseason to kind of give them a boost for next year. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think of Jeff Skinner getting moved in the offseason? Number 3 on the list, we get the New York Rangers' Mats Zuccarello. Obviously, the New York Rangers put that letter out to fans explaining what their vision was, that they're going to be going through a rebuild, and a lot of guys were being moved, and they've lived up to that exactly. I mean, we've already seen quite a few familiar names go out. We've seen Michael Grabner, Rick Nash, Ryan McDonough, JT Miller. Really, Mats Zuccarello, I don't think he fits into their long-term vision anymore. I mean, he's 30 years old, which is not really old, but if you're trying to build a young, fast-skilled team, that's kind of on the other side of the age that you're kind of looking at. So I think age-wise, he's got 1 year left at $4.5 million, so he could be an attractive option for a lot of other teams to pick up. But if you look at his production, it's kind of dipped a little bit, but I don't think you can fault that too much on him because the whole team underperformed this year. So really, I think Zuccarello could be a very attractive option. Maybe something goes down at the draft to kind of boost him onto another team. I can see them doing it. Like I said, they're full into this rebuild. They're serious about doing it. So I can't see why they wouldn't consider trading Zuccarello and in return trying to get themselves some younger, faster prospects. So we'll see what happens, but I fully suspect Mats Zuccarello will be traded this offseason. Now, number 2, there could be a debate here between who I have as number 2 and number 1, and you guys can let me know in the comments what you think. But I have number 2 is Erik Karlsson with the Ottawa Senators. Now, obviously, he was probably the highest profile name that was talked about leading up to the deadline. I'm still not 100% convinced that this is all but done. A lot of the mainstream media, you got to look at it, they have it as a foregone conclusion that he will be moved this summer. I'm not 100% convinced of that. I do think it's pretty likely though, as I think there is definitely strain in that relationship. And I think it's not even so much with Pierre Dorion, it's with ownership. And I think Karlsson is fed up with Eugene Melnyk, and I don't think there's a great relationship there. And if he does go, that's the reason. It's on Melnyk. So I guess a few things that could happen, which you might say it's unlikely or not, but a couple things. A lot of Senators fans really want Melnyk to sell the team. There's a big motion right now in Ottawa. There's a crowdfunding source where they're making billboard signs that says #MelnykOut, and they've raised a ton of money. I think they're up around close to $10,000 last time I looked. And they're making these billboards to be putting around the city, mostly out in Canada near the arena, that send a message to Eugene Melnyk that they want him to sell the team and they want him out. And I think until they do, it's going to be really difficult for this franchise to move forward. So obviously, if something like that went down and he did sell the team, I think that would certainly change things drastically for Karlsson. But based on his interview that he did yesterday with all the media scrum, he said he loves Ottawa. He wants to stay in Ottawa. He's recently, built a new house in Ottawa. He wants to stay long term. Obviously, he says all the right things, and I wouldn't suspect him to do anything different. But at the same time, you can't help but wonder that they need to come to their senses and not move their franchise player. So I think it is quite possible, but I think there's a few things that could go down to kind of change things a little bit, because I don't get the feeling that he 100% wants to leave. But if things don't change, then he will want to, and I guess we'll see how things play out in the summer. But I do think that there's a pretty good likelihood that he gets moved. And I think if the Senators get the right deal, obviously one of the teams that kind of surprised everybody yet again that were in pretty close to obtaining him was the Vegas Golden Knights. It was rumored they were offering, I think it was at least 1, if not 2 players off their roster, as well as a couple of first-round picks and some conditional picks that were included in case he re-signed there long-term. So could they get a better offer than that this summer? It's certainly going to open up the market to more teams kind of coming into the mix. But time will tell. But I think it is quite likely, but I do think there is a small chance he stays, which is why I don't have my number 1. Now, the number 1 player I have is Max Pacioretty. Now, Max Pacioretty with the Montreal Canadiens obviously shoulders a lot of the burden to their lack of success this year. I don't necessarily think all that is fair, but if you look at how the media is in Montreal and you look at how everything that's been talked about, I think he needs a change. I think that unless they move Max Pacioretty, I don't see things getting better. A couple of reasons. They need a top center iceman. He's really the only trade chip they have that's going to get that. I think there's going to be lots of interest for one. He still has a year left on a very team-friendly contract. They're going to be going through, they should be going through a full rebuild there. We'll see what Bergevin does. But at the same time, I think he's the most likely player to be moved. I think with everything that went down, if you listen to the interviews, not only from Karlsson, but with Pacioretty, I personally think he wants out of Montreal. We'll see, but I think Pacioretty is likely to go. I think he needs a fresh start, and I think the Habs need a fresh start, and hopefully Bergevin takes them down the right path of doing a rebuild the right way. If they try to do a quick retool there, I see it being miserable. I really do. There's a lot of things missing in Montreal, and they need to go about things the right way to kind of get things back on track to have long-term success. So that's my thoughts on that. So leave some comments down below. What do you think of these 5 guys? What do you think are the most likely guys to get traded? That's my top 5, but let me know down in the comments what yours is, and we can discuss that further. So once again, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We have daily uploads. We talk hockey here all day. We cover all 31 teams, so certainly consider doing that if you haven't done so already. If you haven't checked us out on social media, please do so as well. You're going to find our Twitter handle on the screen right here. We also have accounts on Facebook and Instagram, and all of our social media links are down below in the description. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.